Good to see you, my friend.
Please, good evening.
Good evening.
We're giving each of the candidates about 15 minutes to introduce and
Questions?
and include questions. 15 minutes.
Should I take questions first?
It's up to you.
It's up to you.
Well, I don't mind. I am Joe Danna, for those that you don't know. Born and raised in Harris County to a large Italian family on the north side. 8 sisters, a brother. Had a house full of Republican women. 8 sisters, and they're still all Republicans. We have 2 older daughters. One's a Republican and one, we're not sure. And we have a 15-year-old. She's still trying to figure out what she is too. More ways than one. I ran for sheriff in 2020, 4 years ago. We came in a very close second place, in my opinion. So I decided to do it again. I went into Mattress Mac's place about 8 months after the election. Mac said, Joe Danna, he said, you running for sheriff again in 2024? I said, Mac, I'm running for sheriff until I win or until I die. He said, way to go, Joe, way to go. You know Mac, he gets all excited. So we began our campaign actually 30 days after the election. I got calls from a couple of friends that own businesses and said, hey, Joe, are you going to run again? I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, well, come put up a sign, a 4x8 sign. I said, Jim, it's 4 years, come put up a sign. And that's where it started, 30 days after the election. Hopefully you've seen him run with this ugly face around the county, because we've got a bunch of them out there. We're still putting them up. A lot of it is name recognition. We received, if I haven't said it, nearly 700,000 votes in 2020. So I think we have a head start on these other good candidates, and we do have some good candidates. I'm very proud to have these 4, and we say at every meeting we go to, the Republican Party is in good shape when it comes to a candidate, whoever wins the primary. And that's the battle. You've heard the saying, you can win the battle, but you can lose the war. The war is in November, and that's the war on drugs, human trafficking, and it goes on and on and on. So we're going to win the battle. One of us will. But when it comes to the war, we have to win. Excuse me, we have to win on November the 5th. And November 5th just happens to be my birthday. I say that all the time, and people are trying to hear it, tired of hearing it, but it is. When I looked it up after I talked to Mac, I went home and looked up 2024, November 5th, and oh my God, there it is, Joe Danna. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we have 4 very, very good qualified candidates. And we all have our plans, 90% of it, we agree. My plan is to reorganize the sheriff department. They have an organizational plan now that's missing a very important word, and I say this all the time, but it's organization. There is no organization over there. It is horrible. Everybody he hires for the high-ranking positions, command staff, they're all friends and relatives. We're going to hire the right people for the right job. That's leadership. That's what it's all about. The 25 positions he has over there for the highest positions, they're all non-exempt positions. That's usually when the sheriff comes in, they get rid of all of them. We don't need them. They put in their own guys. Well, that's not what Joe Danna's going to do. Joe Danna, I know most of them. I'm going to go in there and talk to them away from the office, see where their head is, see where their heart is, and we'll probably keep them if they like my way of managing people, and that is live by the golden rule. You treat me, I treat you the way I want to be treated. Real simple. There's another 2 words in there that law enforcement seems to have lost. And it's not even law enforcement, business, government especially. It's called common sense. We will make decisions based on common sense and the merits of the facts. It's exactly what we'll do. One of the biggest things we have to change is the respect. And I'm talking about the respect amongst the employees. Besides the morale being an all-time low, I know everybody mentions that, and I think you guys know that, we have to build the respect. The respect's not there. There's so much animosity. There's so much jealousy amongst the division. It's horrible. And that all starts at the top. We need a sheriff that understands this job is not about the sheriff. It's about the employees. the employees that put their lives on the line every day for the 5,000 or for the 5 million residents, or whatever it is right now. The 4,000, 5,000 employees, they need help. They need a leader that cares about them. The jail, I'm sure everybody's mentioned the jail. The jail, we've had 26 deaths in the last 2.5 years. Unacceptable. And it doesn't have to be that way. The sheriff did not go to the jail. He didn't go visit the jail during COVID for 2.5 years. How'd you like to be a detention officer there, or a peace officer that works in jail, and you never see your boss? Horrible. What kind of appreciation does he show them? Zero. That's going to change from the top down. They're going to know what we're about. They're going to know they're going to appreciate it. Everybody wants to be appreciated, right? No matter what they do. Well, then that's exactly what we're going to do. That's so important. We've got to build morale. We've got to take care of the department first. Then we will earn the respect from the public. When I started in law enforcement 32 years ago, I worked at Precinct 1. I used to ride the units, and I'd see a Harris County Sheriff car go by. And we were both, me and the deputy, both taking a deep breath. Oh my God, there goes the Harris County Sheriff's Office. That's the way it used to be, at least amongst the troops. I think the public felt the same way. Now, everybody knows what goes on now. They get spit on, they get their camera, people get their cameras out, they can't do their work. All these First Amendment auditors, it's a mess. But we have to build respect amongst ourselves first, that's very important. And then we'll earn the respect from the public. That, the organizational chart, the jail can be fixed. I promise you it can be fixed. I met with captains that worked there that finally got out of there for 4 or 5 hours during the 2020 election. And they gave me all these examples of what's going on. All the illegal stuff was going on. Ghost deputies. Ghost deputies is when somebody has their name on a list, they're on the first floor, their same name is on the second floor, the same names, just to cover the state jail commission. Wow. Rules and regulations. You would not believe what's going on in the jail right now. Well, the proof's in the pudding. You see 26 deaths, yeah, you know what's going on. The inmates are running the jail. They're in there smoking pot. The DO, the detention officer, sit back here watching them. They don't care. Nobody cares. They're getting beat up. It's just, that's the jail. The general public really doesn't care about the jail. I mean, they do, but they don't. They're more interested in their protection and their subdivision. They want safe neighborhoods. We all want safe neighborhoods. If you have a contract deputy, whether it's a sheriff's deputy or a constable, in your neighborhood, you need to get to know that deputy. You need to know how much sugar he likes in his coffee, what kind of donuts he likes. You need to know these guys, males and females. They're very, very important. Very important. We had the commissioners, one of the commissioners, Adrian Garcia, I believe, he tried to shut it down. Tried to shut down the contract, the program. Anyway, that's what we're up against. And that's another thing. People ask us, they've asked us, how are you going to deal with Lena Hidalgo? And I go, I can deal with Lena Hidalgo. I can deal with all of them. And this is how I'm going to deal with them. But when it comes to the budget, and that's what they listen. They'll listen. When it comes to the budget, I'm not going to say, hey, Lena, I need 50 million. I need 5 million or 50 million for cracked sidewalks or for new lights to make this place safer. What I need is to reduce the budget. The sheriff's department are wasting so much money. We will reduce the budget. We'll save you 10 to 15 to 18% of what it is now. And more importantly, we will add deputies to the street, and this is what we're going to do. Anybody here heard of reserve deputies, volunteers? Mm-hmm. I know most of you have. They're volunteers. They're peace officers. They're volunteers. They're unpaid. They used to have 600 to 700 to 800 reserve deputies, or they call them volunteers now. TCO does. They have now under 150. They run them off. Long story. They run them off. It's horrible. Free. They're free. Cost the taxpayers nothing. And there's so many roles these guys can play. They can go write tickets in school zones with no charge, raise some income. They can go educate seniors about these folks coming in their house trying to screw them on their construction after a storm. They can go educate juveniles. They can educate teachers. Unlimited. And they can also, anybody heard of the HOT team, HOT? It's a big dog and pony program that the sheriff gets on the news with, and we're going to go take care of the homeless. It's called Homeless Outreach Team. Those are full-time, they need that, there's no question. Those are full-time deputies that need to be answering CFS calls. Calls about service, about criminal activity. They don't need to be feeding the hungry. Yeah, somebody needs to do that, but you know what? Every volunteers need to do that. They don't get paid. And they love to do it. People want to volunteer, especially when they get appreciated. You always want to do something to get appreciated. So the reserve, the volunteer program will go straight up. I guarantee you I can put 200 officers in the first 90 days. I can name you 100 right now that'll go to work for me because they know me. We have tons of supporters, hundreds if not thousands of supporters in the jail now. I mean at the department now. Speaking of the jail, we had 150 detention officers that kept up with me and the campaign. If you don't win, we're gonna quit. Well, guess what they did? 8 months later, they quit. Now they're suing the county for Lena Hidalgo not doing her job. Joe Danna, please, I appreciate your vote. Beginning Tuesday on the 20th. God bless you all. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Question.
Same question for everybody. What is your title or position right now in the sheriff's office?
I'm a deputy sheriff.
What's the largest number of people you've supervised in the sheriff's department?
Right now, I supervise none. I supervise I'm a volunteer. I supervise a bunch of motorcycle cops, which is one of the toughest ones to supervise.
So you're currently a reserve, unpaid volunteer?
Correct. For the last 12 years.
For the last 12. How many years before that were you a sheriff?
20.
And then what's the maximum number of people that you supervise when you're in the department as an active sheriff?
0. They asked me if I wanted to promote. I said no. I'm doing the public a much better job by being a deputy and a sergeant or a lieutenant or a captain. So
What's
0.
What's the largest budget monetarily that you ever supervised?
In the sheriff's department? Nothing.
Anywhere else?
At my own business, I ran my own business for 12 years, $1 million.
Okay. And what's the next question? How much money do you have raised today in your campaign fund?
We are in the negative. I have loaned the campaign money. It's all online, public information.
That's fine. How many people have endorsed you? Can you give us some names of people that endorsed you?
There's 75.
Okay. Thank you.
It's on the website.
No, thank you very much. I
Sure.
appreciate the information, and thank you very, very much for running. And it was a very good speech.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking the same question too of all the candidates. Human trafficking, you mentioned that early on in your speech. Can you give me an idea of what you would do to curb that and how many folks that you would maybe put on that unit?
They have no team there now. They have 2 people. I will start a division for human trafficking. That's number 1 on my list. I've been asked about auto theft and a bunch of other stuff. I said, that's all on my list. Judge, I was speaking to a judge. It's going to be the first one. We are a hub, the hub in the country. I've worked with organizations that go out and find the perpetrators, but they're having a difficult, Craig Sawyer is a perfect example. They have a very difficult time finding law enforcement that will back them. Craig knows I'll do that. I don't care about politics. We don't need to involve politics in the sheriff's department. It's one of the biggest problems. But Craig wants us to win. We'll start a division. There's a lot of deputies in there that want to take care of these perpetrators. They're ready to go after it, but the department won't let them. We filed a FOIA to find out how many investigations the sheriff did his first 4 years. 2 investigations on human trafficking. And then you go look at his reports. Who's giving him all his money? The striptease stores, whatever they call it. Striptease. It's horrible. It's horrible what's going on. But you know what? It's just like crime. Nobody really cares about crime. They don't want to get involved until they become a victim. Somebody breaks in your house, you put cameras, you put music out there, which I recommend, and nobody seems to recommend that, but you should have music playing around your house all the time. $10 radio, turn the radio on, somebody walks up here, you didn't run. I don't really get off subject, but human trafficking is number 1. Number 1. We'll have a division, and all they do is human trafficking.
Other question, go ahead.
What's your stance on the constitutional sheriff's pledge?
Oh, constitutional. Constitutional sheriff, 100%. We won't go get the guns if the federal government tells us to go pick up the guns. Does that answer your question?
Partially, sure. Have you signed it already?
I'm sorry?
Have you signed one already?
Oh, no. Not yet. You talking about some of the groups like Doc Green's in charge of, or I'm with this guy, trust me, if you don't know.
Oh, yeah, so you're informed about the Constitutional Sheriff's Pledge to stand in the gap between federal overreach and your constituents?
I really, you're getting a little over my head, okay, on that.
That's fine.
I'm just being very honest with you, but I will be a constitutional sheriff. We will not enforce any laws that go against the Constitution, okay? I'm not a scholar, and we got a Supreme Court that argue over stuff like this, much less Joe Danna, you know what I mean? Hope that
Other
helps.
questions? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Front row.
Well, you mentioned Lena Hidalgo in the budget issue, but it looked to me from my visits down at City Council, or not City Council, but Commissioner's Court, that Rodney African Art Ellis actually runs that operation, and Lena Hidalgo sits there.
Is that a question or
Well, so
something?
you gotta deal with Rodney Ellis if you wanna do any budgetary stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I have all four of them now, usually 3, now 4 I have to deal with. I don't know if you guys heard, back in the election, 2020, that President Biden nominated Ed Gonzalez to be the ICE director. Y'all hear about that? Did y'all hear about how it worked out? Okay. They investigated him questioned him for a year and a half, and they finally found out what we knew what happened in 2020. Horrible, horrible. So he didn't make it. It didn't work out for him. The ICE has not had a director for 7 or 8 years now. Okay, the very first thing, Donald Trump, when he wins in November and gets sworn in January, he's going to get an ICE director. And we will work with ICE and Homeland Security. 287G, I'm sure somebody's mentioned that before. We mentioned it all the time when people say, how are you going to work with the feds? It's going to be difficult to work with the feds unless we get him in there. Okay, getting all the illegal aliens out, or whatever you want, migrants, whatever you want to call them.
Other questions? One more question?